Welcome to this week's episode of In-Depth Outdoors. Each week, the In-Depth Outdoors staff will take you to North America's top ice fishing destination, where we'll fish longer, go further off the beaten path, uncover untapped fisheries in your backyard, and punch more holes in search of the biggest fish and the hottest bites. We'll share time-proven tips, introduce new lures and cutting-edge fish-catching techniques. We'll shine the spotlight on overlooked bodies of water and open eyes to underutilized species that feed aggressively and fight hard under the ice. All this with one goal in mind, to help you catch more fish and have more fun doing it. This is In-Depth Outdoors, brought to you by Lake Master, leading in accuracy, following with success. Markham high-power ice sonar. Snowsuit performance winterwear, engineered with you in mind. Otter Outdoors, get out onto the ice and into the outdoors. Custom Jigs and Spins, the hottest baits below the ice. Strike Master Ice Augers, introducing the Solo, the ultimate ice auger. Thorn Brothers, makers of premium quality custom rods for the ice angler.
On today's episode of In-Depth Outdoors, we're here in central Ontario fishing with Chad Thompson out of Pasha Lake Cabins. And what brings us to this area after driving past all those great Minnesota walleye lakes is my sincere love of this area and all the diversity that it offers. What makes this area so special is, and I'll quote Chad on this, he often tells me that within 45 minutes of my front door at Pasha Lake Cabins, there's 100 lakes to choose from. And I love that type of variety and the adventure that a guy can experience if he's willing to go out on a limb and try a new lake. And that is just what this area is all about. So we're going to be out looking for a walleye bite this afternoon. And tomorrow Chad's going to take me to a lake where we're going to see a nice healthy mix of big walleye and lake trout. So we're going to get started this afternoon. We've got about 3 hours to fish on a local lake where the walleyes run really shallow and really big. I have no idea what I've got here. I'm assuming it's a nice walleye. We've seen quite a few fish go through on the camera and they move through so quick, and what that means is you really don't get much of a chance, much of an opportunity with the Markham to really see the fish and play the fish. They're in on that spoon and they just wallop it. Come here, buddy. Wow, is that a fat fish? Oh. What a pattern. We're in here 4.5 to 6 foot of water. Everything about this fish is just phenomenal. They're so aggressive in this shallow water. And I will admit, finding shallow water walleyes is harder than catching them. I mean, this fish is up here for one reason. He wants to eat. Give him something to eat and he does the rest. All I saw of that fish on the Markham was a blur. Just comes in on the screen, pow, they're on you. When I get that thing unhooked, we're fishing a gold slender spoon. There's just the slightest little stain to the water here. Of course, gold is such an incredible color in stained water. Not hooked deep, far enough in that mouth where he wasn't going anywhere. And look at that, folks. 5 foot of water, Ontario gold. Up here fishing with Chad Thompson, Pasha Lake Cabins. Lighten them up in shallow water. Well, time to let that one go. It's cold out here. We do not want to frostbite the fins on that fish. Come on, sweetheart. All I want off her is just one little kick. Come back. Oh, there she goes. Perfect. You know, when we can see on that Markham camera 5 foot of water, everything that happens in the water column, from the bottom all the way to the underside of the ice, we're not missing anything. We're seeing these giant walleyes come through. They're on the hunt. I'm surrounded by what amounts to a wolf pack of big walleyes in water this deep. So I'm gonna chill out a little bit, catch my breath, settle down, and try to get another one.
We are in super shallow water here. The sun is about to the treetops, And this is a nice fish. This is a really nice. Well, he's already at the bottom of the hole. That's how shallow we are. That is a big fish. That is a 6-7 pound walleye. The Markham says we're in about 5 feet of water. That is not a typical Ottoman walleye. That is a big Ottoman walleye. Yep, we're just gonna pop the hook out here. There we go. And get this baby back in the water. Look at that, he's so big. His fin doesn't want to go down. Make sure he takes off. There he goes. Wow. Now, that's what fishing in Canada is all about. Here we are, there's not a soul for miles around. It's just about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun's coming down to the top of the trees. Again, we're in about 5 feet of water. Just caught a big Ottoman walleye. We are getting close to wrapping things up, and I just had a nice hit. And this is a nice walleye. We'll get the Markham out of the way there. And again, we're in this super shallow water. The water's really clear. But these big walleyes are in here feeding, and if you just, this is a nice walleye. Yeah, he's sideways at the bottom. Okay, here he comes. Oh, this is a nice walleye. There he is. Wow. There's another nice walleye. Again, we're in that super shallow water. It's early January, and we're out here. Again, the sun is going down now, and this is the second nice walleye here in about the last half hour before sundown. Walleyes out here are just amazingly fat. When you look, they got the small head, really fat body. They grow super fast out here. They're fun as heck to catch in this shallow water. Holy cow, look at that fish. And we're just gonna throw him back here. Get him back so we can catch him another day. Now this is our first fish of the new lake, and like I said, we haven't been here very long. And he just doesn't want to come off the bottom. Woohoo! That is a nice walleye. Boy, we just set up on this new spot. This is a reef that was fished in the summer, I was told about. And we came out here, and we haven't been here more than 15-20 minutes. I've already had a couple small walleyes right up to the hole, and then this monster just came in. All right, I'm just gonna get the slender spoon out of his mouth here. Boy, that gold is the ticket. It's been the ticket the last couple days. Boy, look at the fin on there. Now that is an Ontario walleye. Yet another Ontario walleye.
Yep, there we go. Just fishing a split shot in a minnow. Nothing fancy, about 2 foot off the bottom. This could be anything from a whitefish to a lake trout. I have no idea what it is. I was outside, just outside the ice house, hopping around a little bit, checking out holes, and I come inside to see one of those sights that every angler wants to see, a big old bend in the fishing pole. So, this is my first fish on this new lake, and what's great about coming up here to Ontario to fish with Chad is you've got so many options. You can talk to Chad in the morning, say, hey, I want to go fish lake trout today. His answer is, okay, do you want to fish big ones or do you want numbers? Look at this, jeez, walleyes, giants. Every one of them. I don't know that I've caught 2 small walleyes in Ontario so far. They're just fantastic fish. And there's that minnow I was fishing. Does it get any more simple than that? Just a river run chub. Chad nets those. And of course, that's just walleye candy. So I'm gonna get this baby unhooked, get it back in the water. Too big to keep. We're gonna do a little fish fry out here later. So a couple of these are gonna fall victim to the knife, but certainly not that one. Chad's already iced one great big walleye. This is my contribution to the day. Couldn't be happier. We had a little snow flurry when we first got here. Everything's clearing off now. Blue skies. The day's looking bright. And that fish has got a hold of my finger. I really wish he would let go. Ah, there we go. I guess I had it coming. So we're gonna let that fish go. Woo! Well, any question about whether that fish released healthy or not, I think is out the window. What a catch. I just love this place. If you love combining snowmobiling, a sense of adventure to come out on different lakes each day, this is the place for you. Chad knows them. You basically tell him what you want to do each day. He puts you on the right lake. And one of the best things about this experience, nobody's been here. How do we know? There is not a single snowmobile track on the lake that we didn't make. So that scenery, that seclusion, and big fish all wrapped up into one. I'm loving it. There he is. Got him. Oh. You know, we're fishing a lot deeper today than we were yesterday. Four feet at the first lake. Here, we're 35 out to about 40 feet. Some of the fish are suspended. Most are on the bottom. Even fishing fluorocarbon, there's enough stretch in the line that you're really not sure what you're tied into until you get them up off the bottom a little bit. This one definitely feels good. Anytime that drag slips on the hook set, it's a good sign. It means there's some weight on that other end. You know, we came here looking for a combination of lake trout and walleyes. So far, all walleyes. Oh, look at that. And we are talking such aggressive fish here today. I mean, it's one thing for a walleye to completely engulf a minnow after he's had a chance to eyeball it. That spoon, back of the throat deep. When you see a spoon that deep in a fish's mouth, you know they're on. Oh, that's exactly what you want to see. Those fish just shoot off. Great shape. You know, it's middle of the winter like this. There's two things we want to worry about. We don't want to frostbite their fins. That's going to cause some permanent damage. And you know, coming up out of this deeper water like this, we want to get them unhooked, back down into the water as fast as we can. Obviously that fish was in great shape. I like to see that. You know it's cold out here when the spoon freezes to the hemostats in about 10 seconds. And of course my hands are wet, so it's time to put some gloves on, maybe go back in the otter and fix that. On last week's episode, we talked in detail about the importance of GPS navigation for the ice fishermen, and it was during that episode we introduced the Humminbird 385 CI, which is a great combination GPS sonar unit that we've been using all winter long on our four-wheeler and snowmobiles. Now the reason I want to touch base on GPS navigation again in this week's episode is over the last week, In-Depth Outdoors has received an incredible amount of email requesting additional information on how that 385 CI was rigged on our snowmobile. You really only need two things to complete this installation. RAM offers a very easy to install and very adjustable mounting solution for the Humminbird 385 CI. 3 bolts attached to your sled in a position that allows easy visibility, and you're good to go from that mounting standpoint. Now the other thing you need is to get power to the unit, and Humminbird makes that very easy with their PC10 power cord. PC power cord. 10 is the model number, and really what that looks like is shown right here in my right hand. Guess what? Red goes to positive, black goes to negative, and really that's all there is to it. You're going to want to put 2 loop connectors, one on each lead, run that down through the firewall of your snowmobile. Every model is going to be a little bit different, so I won't try to demonstrate that on this one, but really it's as easy as snaking it up underneath the fiberglass hood, attaching those leads to the battery, tightening those down, and then plugging that power lead into the back of your 385 CI. You know, we came to this lake knowing that we'd have the chance to get one of 2 species primarily, walleyes or lake trout. You know, it's been a while since I've caught a lake trout myself, so I've got my fingers crossed. I want to see a nice laker. You know, and they're so strong. They're sprinters, where a walleye's a real dogged fight. Head shake straight up and down. Whoa! My heart tells me, my gut tells me, that's a lake trout. Nice. Come on, sweetheart. Now I just need to turn that head up the hole. I can see the split shot at the bottom of the hole. Laker! Nice. Look at that. That is just the icing on the cake. And you know what? It's 11 a.m. It took us an hour and a half of daylight just to get in here, so the day's been short out here on the ice. Big walleyes, super lake trout. This is one of my favorite fish to catch in the winter, bar none. They're so strong. There we go. Get that out of there. What a super fish. This is one of those species that makes coming to Ontario worthwhile. We can catch some of these in Minnesota, but they're not all that common until you get up around Lake Superior. Here in Ontario, this is one of the more common species of fish that can be found in the lakes. And until you've caught one, I gotta tell you, you really haven't ice fished. They're pretty special. Down we go. Whew. Here we go. That was awesome. I tell you what, Chad and I had a little side bet going on. We won't talk about the dollar amount, but we did place a little wager on the table about who was going to catch that first lake trout, so pay the man. Awesome. I caught about a 23-inch walleye, not 4 minutes ago, less than 5 minutes for sure. And it didn't fight anything like this. So I'm thinking, got a lake trout and a big one. Whew. Yay! It's good to be James. That is a beautiful sight. Come on now. I have no idea where we're at in the process here. I'm assuming I've got this fish well up off bottom. Woo, does not like that, does not like that. Big laker. Big laker. Come here, sweetheart. Oh, I can't get a hold of her. Nice. What a fish. Such simple tackle. Catching these wonderful Ontario lakers. Time for the hook to come out. And it's time to let this gorgeous fish go. What a beautiful fish. Oh, she is ready. Come on, girl, one more big kick. I'm gonna make you earn it. One more big kick. There she goes, whoosh. Oh.
Oh, this feels like a nice fish. A little bit of a walleye thump to it. Guess I'm not the lake trout guy that James has turned out to be today. What a nice fish. I love that rod bend. Look at that thump. Oh, the anticipation's killing me. It has been a consistent bite all day long. There's the sinkers. Oh, look at that. Oh, pop this bubble. Wow. You know, that's not the biggest fish of the day, but I would take that all day long. Just gonna pop it out here. Oh, look at that. That's another nice fish. I don't know if it's gonna classify as the biggest fish of the day, but at this point, I'm not really concerned about that. I am a walleye guy through and through, and I just really enjoy the fight. And it doesn't get much better than that right there. It's gonna be a nice fish. You know, I haven't seen the telltale sign, the bubbles, but boy, he sure does not want to come up. Usually you wouldn't get this much fight out of a walleye. You just can't beat this with a stick. This is something else. And I've done this for a number of years. I get like a little kid. That I think is gonna seal the deal for me. I think this is a lake trout. Oh, it's a big walleye. Wow, he is barely hooked right. Well, he's hooked perfectly actually. That is a gorgeous walleye. Look at that. I got this on a flu jig and minnow.
Talk about it.
I actually switched to that jig, went in, asked James what he had in his arsenal. He handed me this. I asked no questions. I put that on, and that is some big walleye. Look at that thing. That thing is just a monster. Through the ice, no less. Wow. We better get this guy back in the hole. He put up a pretty good fight. We'll enjoy him for a second more here, and I'm going to get him right back in the hole. Gone, just like that. That was awesome. That has got to be one of my biggest walleyes through the ice. That was just something spectacular. I'm at a loss for words. That is just awesome.
Well, Chad and I are going to call it a day here in central Ontario. The sun's going down behind the clouds, and before it truly does get completely dark, we do have to make that snowmobile ride off the lake. And I want to take the time to thank Chad for fishing with me, sharing this incredible area. I know I've had one of the best fishing trips here in the last day and a half that I can honestly remember in some time. Those shallow water walleyes yesterday afternoon were a complete thrill, and who can complain about the quality of walleyes and lake trout we caught today? So I do think Chad said it best.
Tell you what, you could be sitting on the couch right now watching TV. You could be up in Canada ice fishing.